Alright guys, how you doing? It's Rabea, hope you're all well. So, it's been a little while since I've done a video on behalf of Crazy Tube Circuits. They're a pedal brand based out in Greece. In this video, we're going to be looking at a brand new pedal by Crazy Tube Circuits called the Super Conductor. The Super Conductor basically features 4 distinct boost circuits that are based on one knob wonder boost pedals from the past and the present. And basically it's their take on that. They've gone a little bit further than just recreate the exact circuit. It's all analog. It's 4 different boosts in one pedal, essentially, that you can access on a little rotary switch. So as you can see on the sweeps of the pedal, there is one knob in the middle that is essentially the level of the boost. Directly beneath that is a 4-way rotary switch, which allows you to access one of 4 different boost circuits that are, as I said, all analog. And then to either side of it, you've got on the left a white modifier switch and on the right a black modifier switch. From left to right, we've got the RM boost, which is, as Crazy Tube Circuits say, our own silicon interpretation of the 60s classic germanium treble booster. Its output is slightly saturated with loads of harmonics. Use it to push an already overdriven amp or add presence and bite to a dark sounding setup. And the white modifier in the up positions the original frequency response of the fat switch. When you push it in, adds low mids for a fat sound. Next up, we've got the EP, which I'm assuming is Echoplex preamp, maybe EP boost. It's a JFET preamp, gain stage based on a preamp circuit of tape echo unit of the early 70s. It features an internal voltage boost charge pump to 24 DC, true to the specs of the original unit it was based on. So the white modifier switch in this circuit goes between the original frequency response, and then when you push it in to engage the fat mode, it's an enhanced full frequency boost and extra output. So it's just going to drive everything a little bit harder, give you a bit more gain into the front of your amp. Now we move over to the MA boost, which is based on a clean and transparent volume booster of the late 70s and early 80s. This circuit is a reference to louder solos. We use it to run long signal chains with its low output impedance or drive your amp harder into natural saturation. The black modifier, so the one on the right, moves between 9 volts, which is true to the original power supply spec, or 18 volts, internally boosted power supply for increased headroom and fidelity. And lastly, the MF circuit, which is based on a late 90s ultra transparent high output impedance MOSFET boost. The black modifier switch gives you the 9 volt, which is true to the original spec, or 18 volts, which boosts. It's an internal power supply that boosts the headroom. So that's everything to know about the Super Conductor. It's 4 boosts in one. They're trying to recreate those famous circuits. Just to let you guys know, this is a sponsored video. Crazy Tube Circuits paid me to make this video to show you guys what the Super Conductor can do, put it through its paces, and give you my opinions at the end of this video. Basically just show you what it can do. So the rig I'm running it into is, I've got my VX100 on a crunch, I've got the twin sister from Friedman on like a clean, and then I'm using the SLO on overdrive to see if we can use the sort of treble booster on that. And we've got a couple of different guitars as well. All that's running in through the KHE, so I can switch it all up, and that runs into Logic, where I'm running Archetype Nolly and a couple of different cabs, reverb and delay, and so on and so forth. So without further ado, let's crack on. Right, so I figured first we would start with the Gretsch. I'm really loving this guitar at the minute, so I wanted to use it. And we're going to run into the twin sister. It's worth saying that the first boost I want to try isn't going to be the first boost on the pedal, which would be the treble circuit, because, well, the treble booster, because I want to use that into something a little bit more crunchy, high gain, because it says use in front of an already driven amp. So with that in mind, we'll move across to the EP. Okay, so here's the guitar. Any reverb and delay you're hearing is coming from Archetype Petrucci. So that's the sound of the guitar straight into the twin sister. So as you can see, basically when the main control is at the middle position, that is kind of like unity. So I've just boosted it a little bit. So I'm already enjoying that. It's just naturally boosting. That's really natural feeling. Let's boost it a little bit more. Really, really like that. Okay, so let's drop it back down a touch. Let's try the fat switch. So that fat switch really makes it sound, I mean, it adds that low mid punch, but it's great, especially on that EP boost circuit. So far, I really like this pedal. So that EP, I haven't heard the other ones yet, but that one, banging. Then with it in. What I just want to try really quickly now before we move on with the pedal is put it in front of the Kraken. Super Kraken, because that's in front of the twin sister. It's nice and chimey. So let's move over to the Kraken. So here's the Kraken. So now we've heard the EP. So far, really dig that. We're going to try the RM boost. So let's take out the fat switch. And yeah, let's have a listen. So this is the Super Kraken. So that's definitely a high sort of headroom, sort of treble side. You can tell that this is going to open up like a dark sounding amplifier by quite a long way. It's got like, it's definitely you sort of high mid sort of upwards. But let's see what happens with the fat switch in. So with the fat switch in, it brings back kind of what you feel like it missed when you turned it on. Let's just try a different guitar. So here's the mayonnaise. Considering that this is obviously a humbucker, running into the crunch on that Super Kraken, but with the fat switch in on that RM boost, so the RM side, originally when I turned it on, I was like, wow, that's a lot of high end. Like it's boosting that super treble boost, of course, which is definitely useful in a pedal where it's offering more than one option. You want that contrast in the types of boost you're getting. So that's cool. Lastly, what I'll do is just plug in the baritone because that's going to be the darkest sounding with this rig. So let's check that out. Okay, here's the baritone. Here it comes. So I'm satisfied with the way that works. It's definitely adding, I mean, bearing in mind the Super Kraken's on, it's like the gain is just above 9 o'clock. It's very much like a crunch, you know, it's not super high gain, but you can, boosting this, adding the fat switch, it goes right into that area. It's not high gain, but it's articulate. I'm quite impressed so far. It's proving to be quite useful in terms of a tone shaping tool at this stage. All right, the last thing I want to do with the RM boost is run it in front of the Soldano, see if we can open that up a bit. So I'm going to stick with the baritone and see what we get. Okay, so here is the SLO. Everything's at 12 o'clock, including the gain, bass, middle, and treble. So this is what it sounds like. Here it comes. So it's super, again, that's without the fat switch. Let's add it in. That's a super useful boost. For me, the EP is the one that I'm like really digging, whereas this one, it's a treble boost and it's got tons of headroom. So it's one of those, I suppose you choose it more wisely when you need it for really brightening up an amp or something like that, opening something up that's not quite there. So you could use that for sure. But the fat switch definitely softens the intense difference in sound. Okay, so we're on to the MA boost. This is the sort of transparent volume boost, as it were. And we're running it with the Gretsch into the twin sister. That black modify switch is the one that works now. The left-hand side switch won't work in this last two boost circuits. It allows you to move between 9 and 18 volts, as the internal power supply allows for more fidelity and headroom and all the rest of it. So this is what we've got straight in. Bit more. So I really like this one as well. It's sort of just boosting the front end of the twin sister, but in a really nice way. Let's try this 18 volt and see what happens. So this is 18 volts. And now while it's decaying, I'm gonna turn it to 9 volts and you should be able to hear a difference. Back to 18. So with that in mind, the way it's sort of allowing me to go between like a more of a squished sound and then one that's a bit more open. If we move across to the Super Kraken, should be able to get a bit of a kind of fuzzy edge on that. So here's the Super Kraken on its own. Here comes the MA. That is wicked. You can get a fuzz out of it. Okay, let's move on to the last boost in the whole pedal. That's the MF. So the MF was that late 90s ultra transparent sort of overall volume boost thing. So this is without it. Here it comes. Throw on the 18 volt mode. It's also worth saying, I just wanted to try that then, by putting the gain on full on this last boost, it doesn't have as much gain as the other. So listen, go back to the MA. Sort of way more of a boost happening across the board, whereas this seems, yeah, more transparent. It's kind of retaining the original sound of the amp more, not boosting it so hard. Okay, well there you go. There's the video. There's a look at the Crazy Tube Circuit Super Conductor, a multi-boost little beast, I would say. What do I think? Firstly, the main USP of this pedal is that you get 4 boosts in one pedal, so it's not going to cost as much as the 4 individual boosts would cost, which is good. It's a benefit, particularly if you're in the market for a boost and you can't really decide what it is you're looking for, or you've got a kind of an idea but you'd like to try them all. I guess that's the fun thing here, is that you've got 4 different ones to choose from that do a little bit more than their original influences, I suppose. It's not hard to use, you know, you've got the rotary switch, you move between the 4 boost circuits, you get a modifier for the first 2 and a modifier for the second 2, and a simple level control. What I like so far is the way that I can use it with my amps to get different tones out of them. Like, I can take the Kraken on that low gain 1 into like a fuzz territory. I can use it to open up the Soldano. I can add a little bit more top end, a little more articulation. I can use it to overall boost the vibe of the twin sister. Obviously it adds a bit more gain, but it gives you like the very last one, the MF boost, gives you a nice transparency there. My favorite is the EP boost. That one's the fun one for me. It's like, I think that's the Echoplex kind of preamp thing, but it's really cool, especially with the fat switching. In any case, I'll link it in the description box below. Let me know what you think of this pedal. If you think it's useful for the kind of rig you use, let me know in the comments section below. Love to hear your thoughts on it. Thank you to Crazy Tube Circuits for sending this pedal over. Thank you all for watching this video. Please like, subscribe and share. I've been Rabea, and I will see you all very soon.